Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we accidentally push each other off the same tiny platform. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with you. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers, and I am joined, as I am always joined, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including additions to F-Zero 99, and then on Thursday, we're seeing just how much we know about Mortal Kombat characters. But Mark, in the meantime, how's it going?
It's going great. Ooh, my palms are already a little bit sweaty thinking about how much I know about Mortal Kombat characters.
What in this instance are the sweaty palms indicative of?
I guess we'll
Are
find
you
out on
nervous?
Thursday. Guess we'll
Are
find
you
out on
excited?
Thursday. Yeah. To both. I'm just saying yeah to everything. It's a problem.
It feels like a great way to go through life. Saying yes to everything.
Exactly. The movie Yes Man is based on me.
I feel like that was an odd emphasis because the name of the movie is Yes Man, right? Not Yes Man.
That was just a mistake. I forgot what the movie was called.
Sure.
I was going to call it
Click.
Yes. But I didn't.
They're the same movie, right? I know one is Jim Carrey and the other is Adam Sandler.
Right? No,
Are they both Adam Sandler?
No. You are correct.
Thank you.
That Yes Man is a Jim Carrey movie,
Mm-hmm.
and Click is an Adam Sandler movie. But I think, as far as premises go, they could not be more different.
Okay, you think as far as premises go, they couldn't be more different?
Yeah,
But
I stand by it. Like I said, I'm saying yeah to everything.
you are saying yeah to everything. You are saying yes, man, to everything. Mark, you know what people could say yes to if they wanted to is patreon.com/Nintendo Cartridge Society, where you can support us with money if you so choose. And if you do at the 8-bit or the 16-bit levels, you get access to our ongoing miniseries. We are currently making our way through NCS Goes Broadway. We're about to this week we are going to be talking about Music Man. Very exciting episode. And so you can check that out there if that is of interest to you. Also, coming up very shortly, and this is something that you and I just keep kicking down the road a little bit. We are going to put up a poll so that you, the listener, the patron, can determine what our next mini-series is going to be.
That's right. We did an entire mini-series called NCS Detective Club, where we talked about the great detective shows of television, and then we moved on to NCS Goes Broadway, and now a third thing that is yet to be determined.
A third thing!
But if you are
rule of threes.
If you are a member of the Patreon,
Mm-hmm.
you can help decide our fate.
Mm-hmm.
How's that?
And kind of your fate, too, because it's something that'll appear on your phone.
Our shared fate.
That's right. I think you have to listen to it. Is that right?
I think that's part of
And then you die a
the
week later.
contract. Yeah, that's right. Unless you share it with somebody else.
Yeah. Okay. So it's not like The Ring. It's like a chain letter.
Well, no, The Ring, you prevent yourself from dying by sharing that VHS.
Oh, is that how that
with
works?
somebody else.
Okay. You weren't just spreading it to other. Okay. So you could save yourself by subjecting someone else to the little ring girl.
Yes, man.
Also, you should join our Discord. It's just a place where people are talking about Nintendo and this show and other fun stuff like that. Basically, all the time. All you gotta do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com, and we will send you a link, an invitation, and then you can chat to your heart's content. Mark, are you ready to talk about what we've been playing this week?
Let's do it.
You put a little Scottish on it that time. It's like, let's do it. Let's do it. Let's talk about what we've been playing.
Yeah.
Oh, I lost it. I lost it halfway through. Mark, I want to start off with so on Friday evening, I went to friend of the show Connor McCabe's house because he was hosting a racing game night at his place. Connor normally hosting these fighting game nights, and I like to play fighting games. racing games not really my thing outside of Mario Kart. But had a fine time playing some Mario Kart, playing some Diddy Kong Racing, which I gotta say, 4 players at one time. Maybe has like a 4 frames per second. Like it runs poorly. And then also a little F-Zero GX.
The GameCube
The
one?
GameCube one,
There we go.
yes. And as always, like anytime I play an F-Zero game, was just reminded of how bad I am at F-Zero games. So all of that is to say that spent a couple hours playing racing games at Connor's house and got in like a racing game mood, right? Where I was like, I wish there was more Mario Kart for me to play right now. We got to wait until holiday 2023, whatever that is, to get more tracks. And even then, it's only 8 more tracks, right? Like I've already played the 88 other tracks. And then I was reminded, what game just did its like official launch, its real free to play launch this last week? I'm referring, of course, to Disney Speedstorm.
How was it?
Here's the thing. Surprisingly fun.
Oh, nice.
And it's obviously like when you start it, because it is a free to play game. So this is the sort of like Disney mashup kart racer kind of game. And when you start it, you can only play as Mickey Mouse. And it like leads you down a track of this very like prescribed path of like you have to do this race and achieve these things in it. And you know, sometimes the achievements are get third or higher, get second or higher, and get first. And so you just get first and knock the whole thing out at once. But sometimes it's like drift for this amount of time, or fire a weapon backwards this many times, or you know, whatever. And as you do that, you unlock the ability to get more upgrades for your carts, or get these little shards so you can get new characters. And all this kind of stuff. Sarah and I handed the controller back and forth for maybe like 2.5, 3-ish hours on Saturday evening, and never felt like we were progressing too slowly for it to be fun, or for it not to be fun, without, you know, spending money on it. And I really enjoyed myself.
Tell me, did you have an opportunity to dig into the options to see if Figment, everybody's favorite dragon from the Imagination Pavilion at Epcot,
That's right,
is available still to purchase, I'm guessing?
So here's the thing. I can see Figments. There are, as is the case with like every free-to-play game, there are so many currencies and so many like little systems that like it either assumes you know, or is like you'll dig into it when you're ready. And I have seen Figments, sorry, like kind of like faded out face that I know he's there, but I haven't unlocked him.
Sure, yeah.
So,
but it is possible.
I don't know. All I know is that like the data for Figment is there,
and they're taunting you with it,
and I'm being taunted with it.
I see,
exactly. Yeah. And I have not, and I'm nowhere near at this point the threshold where I'm like, let's spend some money on this thing. Because like I said, I actually feel like we've been unlocking characters and new things at a pretty good clip. And like the first 3 characters you unlock are Mickey, Donald, and Goofy. And then like Mulan, I think, is the first one after that. The first like real, like not just like Mickey and Friends character. And those are all like pretty cool, fun. Like playing a kart racer as Donald Duck, surprisingly fun.
So can I ask, is every race, I'm assuming you started up your Mickey, there's a tutorial, like is everything online? Are you competing against other people from the get-go, or is there a story mode where you're playing against computer characters? What's
yeah,
like
so
the deal?
Yeah, so there's we've not gone online with it. We think it is possible that like sometimes the boss races have one computer controlled character who's like very tough, and then the rest are like real people. But it's also unclear to me. Like you see usernames over like the drivers, but it's also kind of like, are those real usernames or fake usernames?
Right, like when Mario Kart Tour kicked off and there was no multiplayer, but they all had like fake usernames above them.
Right, or is it more like the Super Mario Run thing where like these racers are like based off real players who use those names and those characters and like, you know, have this like style of play. or what exactly. I don't know what's going on here. But they weren't. The reason that I don't think that they actually were other players online is that they weren't that good, right?
So
Even for opening weekend, you would expect some people to just like demolish us.
what is the structure then of it? 'Cause you're talking about boss races. So is it like there's
Yeah. So.
four
Mhm.
tracks or something, and are they all themed around like I'm thinking of Mario Kart, and there's
Yeah.
it's like the Mushroom Cup, and those aren't really themed around a specific thing. But with Disney, is it like the Adventureland Cup or something like that?
So no, what it is it's in chapters, and so far each chapter or the first couple chapters are all like based around the character that you are that you started as, right? And by the end of chapter 1, you unlock Donald, and then you're playing as Donald all through chapter 2. At the end of chapter 2, you unlock Goofy and play through as Goofy. And so what it is like a little branching tree with not that many branches. Sometimes the branch is just like you collect some like in-game currency, and then like you go back to the other branch, and it'll just be like, here's a race. And sometimes you'll be racing on a track that you have experienced already. Sometimes it'll be a brand new track to you. And sometimes it's like you have to play as you can play as any character you want that you've already unlocked, or this is one you have to do as Donald. And there are some like rivalry races where it's like, okay, this one has to be like there's always a Jack Sparrow that you're racing against. And so like it's that kind of thing. And all of the tracks, at least all of them that I've encountered so far, have a forwards and backwards version where you like race through the track in the opposite direction, which is cool. That they're all like set up to actually be done that way. There's a lot of games in or tracks in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe it would be impossible to race on backwards, but that doesn't seem to be the case for Disney Speedstorm. But yeah, so it like presents you these tracks in like a linear kind of fashion, and sometimes like you'll be excited when you're like, oh, this is a track we haven't played before, cool. And like the game plays just differently enough from Mario Kart that I was thankful for like the revisiting tracks, and already getting the sort of like exploration of it by doing it backwards was like, okay, I'm familiar with the surroundings and like the shape of the track, but it's a completely different experience because I'm going the other way.
Like Mario Kart, are there power-ups that you get
Yes.
to like attack other racers with?
Yes. So there are a handful of, and they're all like the basic types, right? That there's like a defense one, there's a boost, there's an attack, there's like bombs that you lob and stuff like that.
So are those Disney themed?
Not really.
Okay.
But every character has their own, and they're all called skills, by the way. They're not weapons. They're skills. Or not items. They're skills. And then every character has their own skill that is unique to them. So like Donald has this thing where when you activate it, it becomes like a little bubble around him, and if anyone runs into you, Donald gets mad. And when Donald gets mad, there are like all these fists flying around the car, and he's making little Donald Duck noises, and he can knock people out that way. So everyone has their own special skill like that, and so like it's neat to, as you unlock new characters, like see all these things. There's also you level up the carts and the racers in ways that like tangibly change how you race, increasing your acceleration or top speed or handling or whatever. So like there is a genuine like your cart just gets objectively better as you play. But all the levels max out at 15. So like I don't really think there's too much of a difference between like level 1 and level 15. We had unlocked I think it was Mulan, and Sarah like accidentally just like went right into the next race without leveling her up, because you got to level them up by giving them energy drinks. And it was like it was recommending like level 4, level 5 or something, and she was level 1, and no problem, Sarah beat it. So I think it's all like incremental stuff.
It sounds like, I mean, that you're playing it for 3 hours or so and enjoying it. I don't know. I mean, it sounds pretty fun.
I mean, check it out. It is worth the no dollars you will spend on it.
Do you think you'll go back to it?
Yeah, I think so. I keep because I've been working on a writing project a lot this weekend, and I keep trying to like get Sarah to like play it so I can just like be working in the background and like, look up and watch her doing some races. And like, she won't do it. I'm not really sure why. She might be home playing it right now. But yeah, no, I think I will definitely go back to this game.
And sorry, are the tracks Disney themed?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they're there's like a Main Street Disney one. There's an Olympus from Hercules one. There are a couple different Mulan ones. Pirates of the Caribbean has been one. I believe, although I've not actually raced on it, there's a Tron one. And there's a ton of characters in the game. Like basically every time we go into a new race, one of the racers is someone we haven't raced against yet. So like I don't know. It's exciting, and I want to see what else it has to offer. I do think the UI is needlessly complicated and kind of clumsy, especially on Switch. I have to imagine it runs a little bit better on other platforms. But if you're kind of just like, yeah, whatever, like auto level up and then like get to the next race, you can have a lot of fun.
That's pretty cool.
Mhm.
Let me ask you this. Did you play the Tetris 99, the 35th Tetris 99 Maximus Cup?
Yes, of course I did. Did you?
I did. It was Xenoblade Chronicles 3 themed. And, sometimes we talk about these themes for the Maximus Cups where the music maybe is not exactly a great fit for Tetris 99. It's either like too smooth jazz. I've got to say, Xenoblade Chronicles 3, the music was perfect in that from the beginning, it was anxiety inducing. I can't even imagine what it was like in the top like 10 or 5 or whatever.
I mean, it was intense there as well. So I feel like you and I have done a great job of absorbing no information about Xenoblade Chronicles 3.
Yep.
To the point where when this theme popped up and I was like hearing the music, I was like, this is the music in Xenoblade Chronicles 3? I found it shocking because it's not like the music in the other games.
Is it not?
Not really. I mean, the other two games are like symphonic in kind of the same way, but like, I don't know, the music in the Tetris Maximus Cup for Xenoblade Chronicles 3 was so big and bombastic all the time that like, I don't know. I was like, what is the whole score like this? Someone let me know because it seemed crazy to me.
Did you like it? Like when you're saying like the score was like bombastic.
Yeah, it was very big.
Yeah. In like a positive way where you're like, oh, this is cool, or in a wow, this is a lot.
In wow, this is a lot, but also in a like, man, I bet Xenoblade Chronicles fans like booted this up and were like, yeah, let's go. They were like, yes, man.
I've also been continuing to play Sea of Stars, and
no, hold on, you don't get to not tell me how you feel about the music in Xenoblade
I loved
Chronicles
it.
3. Okay,
yeah. Like I said, it was Splatoon 2 theme.
Yes,
levels of anxiety inducing, where it just like kept building and building and building. Oh, this is what I was going to say about Tetris 99. So last week when we were talking about the Maximus Cup, I offhandedly talked about Tetris 99, or maybe it was when we were talking about F-Zero 99. It truly does not matter. But I was talking about, Tetris 99, you have to figure, when you first boot it up, you're figuring out which of the, like attack modes you want to use. And you were like, oh, KO, KO, KO. I was like, oh, all right, this is a tip that I'm putting in my back pocket because I'm going to try KO next time and see if that affects my performance at all. Because listeners know that I am valiant in earning the 100 points to get the theme, but it usually takes me anywhere from half an hour to an hour in order to do so. And the first round that I played in over the weekend, I was in the top like 20, which is incredible performance for me. And I had chosen KO, so I was like, oh, maybe that's the ticket. Yeah. Maybe all this time I've been playing wrong. And then I subsequently was just basically destroyed.
Oh, okay.
Left and right. So I don't think it had any real effect on my performance, but I do see, in fact, it made me feel more targeted, but I don't know if that is possibly true.
I mean, only if people are doing the revenge option. I forget what it's called. It's not actually called revenge, but
like attackers.
Attackers, yeah, that's right. Where you are targeting attackers. I don't know why you would do that. Like, what's the point Because the point of attacking anyone is to try to knock them out, right? Because
Right.
then when you knock people out, you start to earn the badges, which then makes you cause more damage, which then you can use to knock more people out. And the more people you knock out, the fewer people there are you have to beat. So yeah, I really don't know why you would ever choose not attackers.
You mean not KOs?
Yeah, that's right. Man, I'm all over the place tonight. Always KOs.
But I've continued to play Sea of Stars. I just finished what has to be the end of the second act. Like in a classic like story, it feels very much kind of like, oh, our heroes are at their lowest point, and now we're going to see their triumphant triumph over not being triumphant earlier.
Sure.
And
they were non-triumphant in a Bill and Ted kind of way. Totally non-triumphant. And now they will
in the
triumph.
Third act,
yes.
yeah, we're going to see them triumph. And I have got to say, there's a sequence in the second act that I absolutely loved.
Ooh.
Your party's kind of like broken apart, and you're all have a different task. And I thought it was super fun. And the third act is taking me in surprising directions that maybe I should have seen coming, but I definitely didn't see coming. The past 2 weeks I've kind of talked about all the things I was not really enjoying as much in Sea of Stars, but I've really hit
all while liking it generally,
all while enjoying it. But definitely, I've hit a point where I feel like I am in a groove and really enjoying it. I am ready for it to be over with,
sure.
But I think that I'm not that far away from hitting the end. I think I'm maybe like 5 hours away would be my guess.
Well, that's very exciting.
Yeah.
Are you? I know that one of the complaints early on for you was like these two main characters. I feel like blah about. Do you still feel blah about them, or has it become a non-issue because you have other characters that you do care about?
I would say that the characterizations are not the strongest part of the game. I still think that's true. I think the plot goes in interesting places, but I haven't really been drawn into any of the characters particularly, although there was a moment that there was like a plot beat that I did feel, and so it's not like it's unsuccessful. But I do think the characters are all pretty generic.
Sure.
But it hasn't hampered my enjoyment of where I'm at in the game, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So do you think it's possible you beat it between now and when we record next week?
I think I don't think I'm going to have time to beat it, but it's possible.
Okay. All things are possible in Christ. Mark, remember a couple months ago I bought a Street Fighter keyboard?
Yeah, that's right.
So it's a mechanical keyboard that I got from a company called High Ground.
For your computer.
For my computer, yes. Yeah, it's not a music keyboard. It's a typing keyboard. And I got it for my computer at work. And having a mechanical keyboard kind of changed my relationship to typing. Like it just feels better than on the digital keyboard. And so I started bringing it home from work every night so I could continue to work on this writing project that I'm doing. And a while ago I was like, this is unsustainable. I can't keep doing this. So I bought another keyboard. I bought another mechanical keyboard. This one isn't a Street Fighter keyboard. This one is the 8-bit Do NES keyboard.
Sweet.
So it looks like it's got the NES sort of colors and graphics on it. But it also has this switch that's just two big buttons, an A button and a B button, and they're programmable. So
amazing.
One of them I hit the A button and it just shows me my desktop. And right now I've got the B button on print screen, so I can, if I ever need to grab something from my screen, I can just do it that way. I'm open to suggestions. What are good shortcuts that I should be mapped to these A and B buttons?
And you're a PC user, is that right?
Yeah, at work, yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, which keyboard is living where?
Well,
and how did you decide?
Well, here's how I decided.
The NES one is more professional.
The NES one is more professional, and that's the one that's in the office.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
And the Street
Fighter
Fighter
tuxedo of
it is. It truly is.
Nintendo consoles for sure.
I mean, I think I like them both. The Street Fighter one is just so impossibly cool. It's also smaller, so like it is at home right now with my laptop, keyboard or my laptop computer, and just takes up less space on my desk at home. So that's really why it's the one that's at home, and the NES one, which is bigger, is in the office. But like once I have no like pressing need for a mechanical keyboard at home, the Street Fighter keyboard may make its way back.
Amazing.
And look, I've never been a mechanical keyboard guy before, but I am now. Like I'm sorry, I am forever changed by it.
Yeah, you're all in.
It's better than not having it, Mark. All right, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
Today, October 3rd, Disgaea 7 Vows of the Virtueless is released on Switch.
They don't have any virtue.
They have no virtue, and so the reason I wanted to call this one out is because I have a memory of, was it like a re-release of Disgaea 4 that was on Switch in, I think, the year that the Switch came out, or maybe shortly after. But anyways, my memory is that that first Disgaea release on Switch, it came out in Japan and did not do very well. But then it performed very well for a game of its ilk in like the United States. And I remember that being one of the first data points in the Switch bump phenomenon.
Interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, it seems like there are a lot of Disgaea games on. I tried to look it up. I just searched Switch Disgaea to see if I would get any information. It turns out I have too much information.
Yeah,
I can't possibly tell
I think
you.
since then they've re-released 1, and then 5 and 6 have also come out. Maybe it was Disgaea 5 that was the first one. I'm not sure.
It might have been 5.
But anyways, interesting. Or it was fun for me to see Disgaea 7 released and think back to when the Switch was first out in the wild,
right?
And games like this
were we ever so young?
Exactly. It feels impossible. Then also today, Borderlands 3 Ultimate Edition is released on Switch.
Which weird. Borderlands 3, a game that's been out for a good long time everywhere else, is finally making its way to the Switch. And I know it was set for an earlier release date and got delayed a little bit to where it is now. So it's out.
And also, they had released a collection of 1 and 2 on Switch previously, right?
Yeah.
So this kind of completes the Borderlands trilogy on Switch. On Thursday, October 5th, Front Mission 2 Remake is released digitally, and Wargroove 2 is also out.
So if you got room in your life for more strategy games, here they are.
And then on Friday, October 6th, it's the big, like, Nintendo hardware refresh day. So the Mario Red OLED Switch Special Edition is released. The Switch Lights, there's 2 of them that are Animal Crossing New Horizons themed, and that one comes with Animal Crossing New Horizons, like a code to download it.
Right.
And
they're Target and Walmart exclusives.
That's right. That's right. You get a different color, like themed to a different character, depending on which store you go to. And then there's also, for the original Switch, like the non-OLED version, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle that for years, that also comes with like a Nintendo Switch Online trial, which for years previously has been the Black Friday bundle, but seemingly is just the new standard Switch that you can buy.
Yes, and comes like if you said it comes bundled with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe for no additional.
That's right.
Cost. It's $300 for that bundle.
And then also on Friday, Detective Pikachu Returns is released,
which I look, we were never going to be like super excited about the new Detective Pikachu game, but it feels like this thing just like came up. It's just like here now. It's like a surprise.
Well, especially because it was announced so long ago, and then we heard nothing about it.
Right.
And then there was a Pokemon Presents this year that was like, hey, this game does still exist. And now it's here.
Right. And yeah, then it was in the most recent Direct, looking the least bad it's ever looked.
Hey.
I would say.
Shine on, you crazy kid.
I want to talk a little bit about the Switch Lite Animal Crossing bundle because I think it is such a good deal. Because it's $200, comes with a $60 game, and so is effectively a Switch Lite for $140. I've never owned a Switch Lite. You've never owned a Switch Lite. We've known people who have them as sort of like ancillary switches, secondary switches, what have you. And I just, knowing where we are in the console's life cycle, I'm realizing that unless I make a specific like choice to change this, a Switch Lite is something that I'm just never going to have purchased.
Right.
Which is fine. I don't need to own everything that Nintendo tricks me into spending money on, but I do kind of want one.
So
do you hear what I'm saying? Yes.
I hear you 100%. And we both bought our OLEDs within the past year. Like I bought mine in January. You know what I mean? But it's
you're saying I shouldn't spend $550 on Switches
in
1 year?
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, great.
What I'm saying is that I bought my OLED being like, I was a little bit hesitant. I was worried that they were going to release new hardware this year, and I'd feel silly for doing it. But the reason I ended up pulling the trigger is because I wish that I had bought a newer 3DS. That I had bought, like, because I never bought a new 3DS. My 3DS is still the original XL.
Yeah.
And so I wish that I had bought a new 3DS when I had the opportunity, or even a new 2DS when I had the opportunity.
Totally.
And I never did, and I regret that. You know, I wasn't able to play Super Nintendo games from the Virtual Console. It's, like, slower. It doesn't have the little nub. You know, there's just so many things that were nicer about I couldn't do themes, you know. And
just like anytime that we're talking about like a Game Boy SP or, you know, like there's so many of these like handhelds and systems where I'm just like, that'd be nice to have.
Well, and I guess what I'm feeling, or the reason why I'm feeling what you're saying about the Switch Lite is like, is that my legacy version of this? Like in the future, is the OLED what I want to have to play my Switch like games on? Or will I wish that I had a Nintendo Switch Lite, and that's kind of the system that carries forward for me? Yeah. That's kind of what I'm trying to like figure out for myself.
Yeah. But it's also like, but why not just have that be the OLED? The screen is great.
Right, exactly. I don't know. I guess there's something about like the durability in theory of like having the Switch just be, but then you don't have Joy-Con,
right?
And so there are some things you just aren't going to be able to do, like play WarioWare.
Yeah, I mean, can you not sync other Joy-Con to it?
I guess you could.
You probably, yeah. Or play Ring Fit Adventure.
Right.
But I mean, like all of this is like, I don't think I would get rid of my current Switch to get the Switch Lite. I'm kind of just like, there's a piece of hardware here that, like, who knows how much longer they're going to keep it around.
Right.
Or maybe I mean, who knows, right? Like, there'll be more Pokemon games to sell. So, like, having a $200, kid-friendly version of the Switch is probably going to be useful to them for a long time.
And whatever the new hardware is, they're not going to immediately stop selling the Switch.
Right. But anyway, just something that I've been thinking about. Is there anything from this week of new releases that you think will pull you away from the end of Sea of Stars?
No, I don't think so.
All right, Mark, let's get out of the new releases. Which brings us to a regular segment on our show. It is time for 433 in 1952. American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance, 433, Mark and I'll talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, you are going to be administering a quiz.
That's right. It is October. We're officially in Halloween season, and so we're going to be taking a quiz from BuzzFeed that is titled, and this feels like one of those, you know how sometimes on the New York Times the headline gets changed to be a little more
a little spicier.
Yeah. I feel like that's what happened here, because in the URL,
yeah,
the quiz seems to have previously been called tell me Halloween is your favorite holiday without telling me, you know, like
that Halloween is your favorite holiday, right?
But now it's kind of unfortunate that only 8% of the population know their Halloween history well enough to pass this pop quiz.
Kinda unfortunate. That's in the headline.
It's in the headline. Hey, it's BuzzFeed, baby.
Yeah,
it's
you're
cool.
right. You're right.
It's like jazz.
Can I just take a moment here before we start the quiz to apologize for saying that you were administering the quiz and not that you were proctoring the quiz? Because proctoring is such a better word in this.
Apology
context.
accepted.
Thank you.
Also, I have not taken this quiz myself, so we're going to be.
Oh, we're going to take it together.
We're going to be taking it together.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So
proctor thyself.
Which country did Halloween originate in? Is it Ireland, Germany, Czech Republic, or Romania?
So my gut was Germany when you asked the question.
Okay.
But I would also believe Romania.
Yeah, let's go with Germany. I was
Okay.
gonna say Ireland.
Oh, okay. That when you read that off, I was like, no, not
Okay,
that
all right,
one.
we'll go with Germany. We'll go with
It
Germany.
might be Ireland. I don't know.
It was in fact Ireland.
Okay, all right.
Wow, that's kind of unfortunate.
It is kind of unfortunate. And we can get 80% of these right?
No, that only 8% of the population
Only
know their
8%. Okay.
Halloween history well enough to pass this pop quiz.
Okay, what constitutes pass in this case?
I will find
We
out
don't know,
together.
okay.
The word Halloween means which of the following? Dawn of the Hallows, Saints' Evening, Eve of the Dead, or Dark Night?
I would say Saints Evening. It's like All Saints Eve
Right, or All Hallows Eve?
or All Hallows Eve.
Right, that's why I was first drawn to Dawn of the Hallows, but
But that's
Saints-
Dawn, not Eve.
Yeah, no, that's, well,
But Ween.
right.
Ween.
Let's just go with Saints' Evening.
Okay, great.
That was your first instinct, and you were right. You were correct, yep. What-
Redeemed.
Now, here's
That 8% of losers.
here's true, which may include us
Uh-huh.
at the end of this. Here's true Halloween history. Finally, somebody's getting to it. What is the most popular Halloween costume for pets?
Oh,
Is it a Hershey's Kiss, a hot dog, a pumpkin, or a bumblebee?
I'm going to say Bumblebee.
Oh, okay. I was going to say hot dog. I'm imagining dogs and like
right,
hot dog
right,
costumes.
right. Previous guest on the show, Ryan Mogi, has a bee costume for her dog Fletcher, which is very cute.
Okay.
Hot dog is, I think, the only other answer there that makes sense. Pumpkin, no. Hershey Kiss, no.
No. Let's go with bumblebee.
Let's go with
See,
Bumblebee.
It was a pumpkin.
What?
Just not very imaginative.
Yeah, I don't like it.
Another true Halloween history. Which celebrity is known for throwing epic Halloween parties?
Oh, here we go.
Is it Leonardo DiCaprio,
Okay.
Jennifer Aniston,
All right.
Zendaya,
Uh-huh.
Heidi Klum? Those are our options.
It's Heidi Klum.
It's Heidi Klum. Yeah,
She
dressed up
dresses
like a big
up.
worm.
That's
Yep,
right. We all saw that worm.
correct.
We all saw the worm.
True or false? The Scottish term for dressing up on Halloween is guising. I'm gonna say
Guys like Ghost.
guys like disguise, like
I see.
guising.
Guising.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm gonna say yes.
Sure. Let's say yes.
Yeah, we were right.
Okay.
What was used for the first jack-o'-lanterns? Potatoes and turnips, potatoes and pumpkins, watermelons and turnips, or eggplants and pumpkins? I think pumpkins are right out. I'm going to say potatoes and turnips. In Ireland,
Okay, yeah, sure. I forgot about the Ireland thing. Yeah, go for it.
we were correct.
Okay, great.
True or false? Candy corn was originally called chicken feed.
I'm going to say false.
Oh, it was true.
It was true. Well, when they're leading us down these paths, they're just trying to like show off like the piece of information they have. We should always just assume true.
Which state produces the most pumpkins? Maine, Illinois, Ohio, or Arkansas?
Maine, Illinois, or
Oh,
Arkansas?
Ohio or Arkansas?
I'm going to say either Ohio or Illinois.
Okay, I'm going to say Ohio.
Let's go Ohio.
It was wrong. It was Illinois. You were right.
Ugh.
Which famous magician died on Halloween? Dante,
Huh?
Siegfried Fischbacher.
Wait, who's Dante in this
I
context?
don't know. I mean, other than the famous magician. But I don't know. Harry Houdini or David Blaine? David Blaine's not dead, to my knowledge.
Right.
I think it's Harry Houdini, famously died on
He got
Halloween.
punched in the gut because he told people he could take a punch to the gut.
And somebody, like, he wasn't prepared or
He wasn't
something,
prepared, right.
I think it's Houdini.
Which is really, he should have like said like, you can punch me in the gut, but you have to tell me first.
The fear of Halloween is called what? Semenophobia, nectophobia, chrysophobia, or allurophobia?
Okay, it's not going to be chrysophobia, right? Because that's like Christophobia.
It's like CH. I'm just gonna show you.
Yeah.
Those are our four options. Your guess is as good as mine. I genuinely have no idea.
I don't know. Let's go with nyctophobia.
Okay,
Is this the last question?
it is. Yeah. It was samahanophobia. We got 5 out of 10 correct.
Sounds like a passing grade to me.
We scored better than 51% of all the other quiz takers. So
That's only marginally better.
Yeah.
That means that 49 did worse than us.
I think we did
Or
kind of
better?
unfortunate. I think that's fair to say.
We are kind of unfortunate. We were accompanied today by an ensemble at the Musical Instrument Museum in Phoenix. Mark, let's get into the news. Do you know why I don't feel bad about our performance there? I don't really care about Halloween. Is that controversial?
No, I think that's fair. Let your freak flag fly.
It's kind of the opposite, right? It's like, I mean, maybe it does. Like, I don't know.
I think you're an outlier for
I'm
not
an
caring about
outlier
Halloween.
for sure.
I
There
do
we go.
think that's true, yeah. When F-Zero 99 launched last month, Nintendo's Japanese website for F-Zero 99 indicated that Queen League and King League content was coming to the game in the future. But the future is now. We are living
The
in that
31st
future.
century.
Or it was last week when
Right.
Nintendo added new tracks to the game. Mute City 2, Port Town, and Red Canyon are now added to the standard and pro modes. Whiteland 2 is in the Grand Prix mode. Deathwind 2 is a pro mode exclusive. And then also more tracks will be added in the coming weeks.
Have you been messing around any further with Tetris?
I haven't.
F-Zero 99?
No, I've been super focused on Sea of Stars, and then I took a little break
For Tetris.
99, and then I was right back to Sea of Stars.
Yeah. It's cool to see new tracks pop up and to kind of like collect those as you play a little bit. I can really only do a couple F-Zero 99s before I'm like, I want to do something else. But I like seeing the variety.
Yeah, I'd be interested in hearing from listeners if they're continuing to play. I'm impressed that Nintendo is adding new tracks so quickly, but and we might have talked about this before, but it makes you wonder, are they just going to run out of content really fast? And then
Right.
I guess they'll remove tracks maybe and then add more tracks. I don't know.
It's unclear what their plan is with this or how long they plan to support it with new stuff. But yeah, if just a couple weeks after it came out, they're adding stuff and then they plan to add more mid-October, which is like 2 weeks away.
Right, and there's only the 3 like leagues in
Right.
the original
Right.
Super Nintendo game, so they'll have published I think all those tracks.
And
by
it's
the end
kind of
the
like,
month.
why not just launch with all of those? It's not really like enough time for people to be like, oh, we need more. We need more, you know?
I mean, I guess it's like Maximus Cups, where it just gives people another reason to come back to it.
Right, but they weren't
But-
dropping Maximus Cups in the first weekend.
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. That's true. Europe and Japan are getting physical releases of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass. Kind of. So on Friday, October 6th, which is just a big Nintendo throat clearing before the holidays day,
Right.
Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass will be available in Japan. They're releasing a physical version, so that includes Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, the base game, and Booster Course Pass waves 1 through 5 on a actual cart. So you will get all of that content on the cart,
Right.
but Wave 6, which isn't released yet, will be a separate download when it releases.
Which is strange to me. Why do they not wait for everything to be out?
I think it truly is holiday deadlines, right?
Sure.
It's like they want to get this out on shelves before holiday shopping, and when these things were planned, I wonder if the release date for Wave 6 was malleable. Like maybe they didn't
Yeah, it's
have,
possible.
like maybe they were thinking possibly it could be. I don't know what the lead time on printing a cart is, right? Like at what point did they have to decide, no, it's just 1 through 5 and then get it out the door?
Yeah, I mean it's that is a good question, but it's just like it's the kind of thing where like this is the only example we have of there being a like physical on cart version of the Mario Kart 8 DLC tracks, right? And it won't even be complete. So like in in the like weird future 30 years from now, when there is no more, it may not even be 30, maybe 15 years from now, when there is no more Switch eShop that you can like re-download your purchase content from, those DLC tracks are going to be like on the last couple Switches as they die and stop working.
Yeah.
But they will be, you know, 5/6 of them will be on this Japanese cart, and
Right.
only there. And the Wave 6 cart tracks won't be on anything physically.
Yeah, I hadn't really considered that, but there's a lot of like DLC content that is will suffer that same fate. Like they've never released a complete version of Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, right?
Right.
And so all of those fighters
Right.
will someday just not exist. Like will not be playable in that game unless you have the downloaded version.
Right. I mean, unless the Nintendo Switch eShop is something that they carry on in perpetuity forever.
Or they release a version in the
Or they release a
future
version in the
that
future,
has
yeah.
like all of it. But yeah, that's really interesting. But yeah, it is funny that it'll be 1 through 5 will be on this cart, like almost complete.
Almost
But
complete.
Wave 6 just the release date just couldn't make the cut.
I wonder. Yeah. I was gonna say, I wonder if they like are on the cart, but just like aren't unlockable. But I'm sure they're not ready.
And then in Europe, they're releasing on Friday Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass set, which does not include the game Mario Kart 8 Deluxe.
Yes.
It is purely a download code for the Booster Course Pass, plus a set of 4 like acrylic pins. It's Mario, Luigi, Peach, and Yoshi.
Mhm.
So Toad can hit the road. A set of 10
He can't hit the road. He's not here. He's not in his cart.
a set of 10 sticker sheets,
Mhm.
and then 5 art cards.
This is an interesting package. Again, it's the same kind of problem in that like you could. This is what this is perfect for is gifts for kids.
Yeah,
right?
totally.
You can put this in a card for their birthday or for the holidays, and they don't have access to their own credit card. Their parents aren't going to let them subscribe to the expansion pack for Nintendo Switch Online. Whatever, they can just punch in this code, get 40, double the tracks that they have in Mario
Crazy.
Kart 8.
I mean, it is. That's what's so crazy about it. It is a really compelling. If you have a kid that loves Mario Kart or a person
Yeah.
that loves Mario Kart and they don't have the Booster Course Pass, it is a good gift.
Totally. And honestly, like the lapsed like Switch fan in your life who bought this when it came out, or in like a year or two into the Switch, and be like, oh, here's a thing that just makes your Mario Kart experience that much richer, is very cool. You still have to be able to download the tracks, right?
Right.
Like whatever yeah, that's still a hang up. And they're not huge files, like they always download pretty quick. But it's still like something to have to contend with.
But also interesting that North America is conspicuously absent.
Yeah.
Like no version of this package, no physical version so far of the Booster Course Pass at all.
Are there regulations against selling a physical retail package for something that has like a part of it that isn't released yet
Oh, that's
in the
interesting.
United States? Like I'm
I don't
trying to
know.
wrap my head around like what the difference is here, and sometimes that falls to like regulatory things. You have in our notes here that we're denied the new brain training game, and you and I have hypothesized that may be because Nintendo makes these claims about like it reducing your brain age or whatever, and that is like that opens them up to like legal liability. You can get sued for saying that like this is good for your brain when like maybe it isn't. But yeah, if it's a package that says it includes these things or it will eventually, maybe you can't actually sell someone an eventually at like a physical retail location. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I also wonder if it's just like Nintendo of America doesn't feel like they need it for the holiday season.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. That like Mario Wonder and the other releases that they have lined up will be enough to carry them through the year.
Yeah. Well, and I wonder also if it says something about where they're seeing their subscriber base. If they know that Nintendo Switch Online plus expansion pack people are like largely concentrated in North America.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Like that they're like, well, that's not an area that we need to hit. They're already getting it.
Or maybe it has something to do with the fact that there's this Mario Kart 8 Deluxe bundle that is exclusive to North America. I don't think it exists in Japan.
Oh, interesting.
And it doesn't exist in Europe because in Europe they're getting the Nintendo Switch Sports bundle. And
That's
so
right.
maybe that has something to do with the calculus.
But you would
where they're like, we're going to bundle like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in. And so we want people to buy the booster course pass. But then you would think that they would want to make that as easiest as possible. Yeah, I don't know. It feels a little bit like in the Wii era when Nintendo of America was just like, no, we're just not releasing those games. Where sometimes they just do their own thing for whatever reason.
Yeah. Well, and like there's something about like the inclusion of like art cards and a acrylic pin set where it's like in some capacity you're just like selling junk, right? You'll notice that this is not something that they're selling in Japan. And so I'm just trying to like take it all in and like why is it going out like this in this territory and this in this territory and not at all in North America? And I cannot draw any greater conclusions from it.
Well, here's something that we can all agree on, and that is on November 3rd.
Finally, we can agree on something.
All territories will be getting new physical versions of Pokemon Scarlet and Pokemon Violet that bundle the DLC for the games. Again, with an asterisk, the first DLC, the Teal Mask, the one that's out right now, will be on the cart. But the second one, which hasn't been released yet, will be download only.
Which kind of torpedoes my my regulation speculation.
Oh yeah, I guess that's true.
But again, and it must just be to your point of like got to get something out before the holidays, right? But like, why aren't we putting? And maybe another again that it's a product that they could sell later.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just if you are going out and you're looking for a Pokemon game,
yeah,
right? Like it's a decent value because I think it's the same. I think it's like $60, and you get both DLC.
Wait, is that true?
I think so.
Because they definitely didn't do that for the previous releases. That they would sell them bundled together, but for like $90.
Oh, interesting. Maybe that is the case.
So I'll look it up while we move into the next story.
Okay, cool.
Or if we have more about this story.
Nope, that's it. Which gives us time to try to figure out if we now understand the multiplayer for Super Mario Brothers Wonder. So a couple of weeks ago, we were struggling with this. You and I, a little bit of a disagreement on what exactly it included. One thing that has been clear for a while, though, is that in multiplayer modes, there's a change from the new Super Mario Brothers multiplayer, where in those games, you could collide into other players.
Yes.
And there was almost like a bounce back effect, right? And so you could knock other players off of platforms and cause all kinds of mischief. In Super Mario Brothers Wonder, though, collision is gone.
No more collision.
No more collision. And in an interview with Rolling Stone, the director of Super Mario Brothers Wonder, Shiro Mori, implied that this game also started out with it collision enabled, but it was removed during the course of development, saying, quote, "When we took the leap of faith and removed collision, we realized that it removes a lot of the stress. For example, when you have a narrow platform that you jump to, when somebody is there, they just get in the way." Which is true. I mean, that definitely
true. Yes.
But that kind of like chaotic energy was, I would say, part of the fun of New Super Mario Brothers.
But also undeniably part of the chaos too, right?
And also, like if you actually
part of what makes it hard to play.
Yes,
Yeah.
like multiplayer in those games was fun because it was so chaotic, not because you were actually not because it was easier to play with friends or necessarily more fun to play with friends.
Right. I'm for this. I think that I do like the chaos that like a new Super Mario Brothers brings, or Super Mario 3D World, which I can still talk about. But there is also something nice about like, okay, let's play this for real.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Let's actually like accomplish something in this game that is sometimes missing from a new Super Mario Brothers experience.
So here's what I think the multiplayer in Super Mario Brothers Wonder is.
Okay, here we go.
And so,
here we go.
I am interested if this matches your understanding.
Yeah.
So there's really two different types. There is online where random people exist,
Yeah. Huh.
and then there is private rooms that you can create that is just you and your friends.
Yes.
In both cases, you are seeing what I'm going to call are like shadow versions, where they are not ghosts, which is which I'm defining as pre-recorded.
You ghost in the like Mario Kart sort of.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They are like not active participants in your world. Like in
So you're saying if they jump on a Goomba, kill the Goomba, your Goomba is still there.
that's how I understand it for like
Okay.
the random ones.
Okay.
For like just regular online.
Right.
But what they can do is put like signposts that can help you
Or save you when you turn into a ghost.
Yes.
Ghost now in the like traditional sense, where you
ghost
have
in
died.
like the true sense of the game, where in New Super Mario Brothers there was a bubble, but now you like turn into a ghost,
Right.
and somebody has to save you to come back. And then those people, I think that's what the signs do. The signs that they put down, if you hit them, you are no longer a ghost.
See, but that's in like the passive version of it that like you can do that asynchronously.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
And we're still just talking about randoms, right? Like
yeah, I think
like
so.
you connect online, you're playing the game by yourself, but you're seeing this other activity.
Right.
Like other people playing the game, but they are, like you said, they jump on a Goomba, it doesn't affect your Goomba, and they can also give items. I'm not clear on that part.
I'm not clear on that
But then
either.
a private room,
yes,
you can connect with friends, and you are all in the same world.
Yes.
And their actions
do
affect the world?
That's my understanding as well.
Okay.
Right. And this is basically like the online multiplayer co-op.
But they're still displayed as like shadows.
I think that's right. But I don't but it is simultaneous. It is not asynchronous in the way that even though the other way,
the other one's not asynchronous.
It's not asynchronous either. But the leaving behind of the like signposts is.
Yeah, I guess they just like persist. I feel really dumb because I feel like this isn't.
It should be easier.
Yeah, like this isn't that hard.
Right.
But for whatever reason, I just can't parse it.
We just need to like play it. We just need to play it. And we'll know 2 weeks and 2 days from now. 2 weeks and 3 days from now. We will know.
Yes. But I think we're getting closer. I'm getting closer, I think.
Yes. If you were to go on Amazon or to Best Buy right now and buy the digital bundle for Pokemon Violet and the expansion pack, it would cost you $95.
Okay.
I don't see the physical product.
Okay, so we don't know.
We don't know.
Yeah.
But I'm saying the digital equivalent as a bundle, as a digital code that you could buy from these places, is the price of the game plus the expansion pack.
Yeah, so maybe these new versions are the same price, and the selling point, just like it is with the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe Booster Course Pass in Europe, is the fact that you can give it as a gift in a more like
that's
physical.
Gotta be it. Yeah.
I bet you're right. Especially because it's not like a Game of the Year edition or something that's come out after all the DLC.
Right.
Like that, the second piece of the DLC hasn't come out yet, and I would be upset if I had I'd pre-ordered it and paid the $90, and then somebody was able to get it for all of it for $60.
Yeah, 100%.
You're right.
Even before it was all the way up.
Yeah, you're right. It must be the same price.
It's such a weird dynamic, and I know we're going back to this story now after we've been away from it for a couple of minutes, but like, it's such a weird dynamic that Nintendo is pursuing this, like the way modern games are like sold and distributed to adults. While still making games that are very much geared towards children, or at least accessible to children, but have this like credit card barrier where it's like you need to make a digital purchase in order to fully experience this game. And kids can't make digital purchases because they don't have credit cards. Like that's one block that's still there. And so now this year in particular, they're giving us all these other options, all these other ways to engage with that content, or allow a child to engage with that content without handing them your credit card.
And there's also no gifting in the eShop, right? Like,
which I find frustrating.
It is silly.
I would really like to be able to gift games and DLC and especially Nintendo Switch Online and expansion pack subscriptions, I would really like to be able to do that through the eShop.
And I know you can buy digital codes and share
Sure.
that, but it's just it seems like that would be a nice thing for them to add to the eShop.
Yes.
But it's just another reason why having these physical versions that, somebody can go into a store and buy for someone else.
Yeah.
Instead of being like, I got this for you, so let me enter my credit card and,
Yeah, exactly.
It just kind of like facilitates that piece of it better. Remember how Shigeru Miyamoto described Pikmin 4 as very close to completion back in 2015?
I do.
But then also the game didn't come out until just a couple of months ago.
Mm-hmm.
What is the deal with that?
What was going on there?
We never really got an answer.
Mm-mm.
And I'm going to say
We still don't.
we still have no
we
answer.
still definitely have no answer, but Pikmin producers have been speaking about it.
That's right. So Game Informer had an interview with Yuji Kondo, the chief and programming director of Pikmin 4, and Yutaka Hiramuki, the planning director, and they had this to say about it. So Kondo said, quote, "After the development of Pikmin 3 ended, we started development for Pikmin 4 as a small team. As we made several attempts and tried out various things, there were moments when we could see the game take shape. But since we had to prioritize other projects, we weren't able to create the development team framework needed to complete the game. But the fruits of our labor during that time led to the result of what Pikmin 4 is today."
Okay. All of which is just to say we had a small team. We couldn't really focus on it until eventually we could. But what we worked on in that small team fed what the game became.
Yes. And then
Doesn't really answer the question.
No, not
of,
at all.
Like, why did Miyamoto say it was basically done
right.
in 2015?
Yeah. And then Hiramuki adds, quote, "We know the fans were worried since Pikmin 4 was taking a long time, but thanks to their patience, we were able to make a game that is enjoyable for many people." So
And-
thank you for that brilliant insight.
The goal is always going to be making a game that is enjoyable for many people.
Yeah.
I would say that is item number one on the list.
It's a good North Star.
What's on our vision board? We're going to make a game that's enjoyable for many people.
If I was really parsing this,
Yeah.
which I'm going to do.
Yeah, do it.
So Kondo, it just sounds like we made several attempts and tried out various things. So yeah, why Miyamoto was saying in 2015 that the game was almost done, maybe at some point it was and they scrapped it,
Yeah.
right? Like for whatever reason it wasn't coming together. Because he says we made several attempts and tried out various things, and there were moments when we could see the game take shape. But it sounds like they never got to a point where
Right,
like
right.
they had the gameplay loop or the planning far enough along that it made sense to bring in a full team to like flesh it out.
Which, and like that is sort of the narrative of how most games come together, right? That like they start down many different paths, discover which one is actually fun, and then end up developing that. Because like fun is one of those things that's hard to intuit. You can come up with systems that you find compelling or like bits of lore that you find interesting, but like how do you know when something is gonna be fun? You kind of don't until it is fun.
One thing that I've been thinking about recently is I feel like there's been some discussion online, and I'm not sure why it came up all of a sudden, but about maybe it's because we've been missing a mainline 3D Mario since 2017, and the discussion around like the future of Mario and people saying that, oh yeah, like obviously Bowser's Fury is a glimpse at that future, or was like a tech demo essentially of what the next Mario will be. And
Doesn't feel right at all.
that doesn't feel right to me at all. Like, because you look at Pikmin 3 Deluxe or whatever, like that version came out, it added co-op.
Yes.
Right? So like the logical conclusion from that might be, oh,
we do co-op now.
we do co-op in Pikmin games.
Yeah.
Like this was new for Pikmin 3.
They fly now.
Obviously, yeah, exactly. Obviously, Pikmin 4 is going to come with co-op, because why else would they add it to Pikmin 3?
Right.
Pikmin 4 comes out, no co-op. Basically, totally different game from what Pikmin 3 offered. And it's like, well, to my mind, Bowser's Fury is the way it is because it's very possible to me that Bowser's Fury is a one-off. That, like you were saying, they try a bunch of things and they tried a bunch of things. They were like, okay, yeah, like, but this is the final form. This
Yep.
is where we think we can take it, and
This is as big and as fun as it could be.
exactly, and that so my expectation is that the next Mario game will not at all be like Bowser's Fury.
Yeah, I think that's right. And the this is Nintendo, right? Like this is what they do. They make Captain Toad Treasure Tracker. They port it to 2 other systems, but they're never going to give me a sequel to that game.
Right.
Right? Like they do something fun, they do something cool, and then they're like, what's the next new cool thing we can do?
Why would we do Bowser's Fury again?
Why indeed. Yes.
I mean, occasionally you do get a, Tears of the Kingdom, or you
Yep.
get a Mario I was going to say Odyssey,
Galaxy
Galaxy 2.
2.
But those really do feel like times where the developers feel like there's so much more that they can do playing with those systems.
Yeah.
And you just, I don't know, I just don't get that. I don't know. It's my fault for getting us sidetracked with Bowser's Fury, but I just don't.
No, I think that's
I just don't
I think
get
it's
the
a great
sense
point.
that
Well, and like in both of those cases too, it's there's always the fan thing, and we haven't gotten to it yet because Tears of the Kingdom just came out, but like the fan question of where's Mario Galaxy 3, right? Like complete the trilogy. Nintendo doesn't do trilogies, right? They'll do 2 games and then they're like, we're done.
Yeah.
We did it.
they've exhausted all of their ideas.
Yes.
Also, I promise this will be the end of it. Bowser's Fury wasn't developed by Nintendo in Japan. It was developed by the NST, I think that's what it's called. They're a team in Washington, which I think is another sign that it was an interesting experiment, but
Yeah.
not the future of Mario, in my opinion.
And a great game. It's weird that it remains just bundled with Super Mario 3D World. Do you think there ever comes a day where they like release it as its own?
Not on Switch.
Release?
I think that's like the
That's a great
selling
point.
point,
Yeah.
or one of the bonus ads to which again.
Did it
why?
need that, though?
Why
Yeah.
did it need it? You didn't do that for. I mean, I guess they did additional stuff for a lot of the Wii U releases on Switch. They added
Funky mode.
They added. Thank you. They added co-op to
To
Pikmin 3.
Right.
And they did make changes to 3D World, but it obviously they felt like they needed more to have as like a selling point.
Right. And Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had the battle mode. It had the dual items. Like there was a lot they changed.
Right. Yeah.
When that game. It's wild to think of how much that game has changed, and not just in that it has now 3 times the number of tracks as when it started, but it did a real battle mode, so many more characters, crazy stuff.
Yeah, they keep adding settings and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
Finally,
Still no music player.
Still no music player.
And no
Music
volume
setting.
options. Yes, that's what we need.
Finally, as we get closer to the 20th anniversary of the Nintendo DS next November, I keep waiting for...
Hold on. What?
November 2004, released in North America.
Okay. So we turned to dust at that point, right?
Yep, that's right.
Okay.
Yep, that's right. We're basically vampires that'll be throwing open the curtains.
Mm-hmm.
And, but yeah, 20th anniversary of the Nintendo DS next November. I keep waiting for the dam to burst and like a flood of DS titles to get ported to Switch. We'll be hitting that 20-year nostalgia cycle. I just think it makes a lot of sense, but it hasn't happened yet. However, the Nintendo DS horror first-person shooter Dementium: The Ward is coming to Switch next week on October 12th for $20. Originally released in 2007 and then ported to the 3DS in 2015. I've never played this game, but I remember this game coming out on the Nintendo DS because it was one of those rare quote-unquote adult titles that came to the DS.
Right.
And so that was a real rarity for Nintendo on both the DS or the Wii at this time. And so it got a lot of press coverage. And the reviews were actually pretty decent on the DS. I think part of the novelty of its subject matter was part of the reason. The 3DS port didn't receive great reviews, like 5, so pretty middling.
Yeah.
But,
well, I mean, 5s are pretty bad. Dementium. Okay.
I think Renegade Kid is
Yeah,
the
Renegade
developer,
Kid is the
and this
developer.
is being published by a Toonie or Toonie, something like that.
Well, on the Switch, it's being published by a TUI, which is
A2E.
that's the Mutant Mudds developer.
I think so, yeah.
Which good on them, I guess. It is. We've got and God forgive me, I'm going to forget the name of the DS game and its Wii sequel that was never localized outside of Japan that is getting a remake on Switch that we saw. Another Code, I think is right. That we are starting to see this drips and drabs. I do think that there is we're hitting that appetite for DS games. The DS and the 3DS are like the great unexplored realms for ports to the Nintendo Switch. Not available as part of any NSO console, and not really being ported in other ways. I guess we saw with The World Ends With You, that's one, but it's not a common thing, and there's a obvious huge hurdle to develop around is that you don't have two screens.
Right. Yeah, but I guess another one is Etrian Odyssey.
Yeah,
which there's Juliet in the Discord just finished playing through one of the games, maybe the first one. And so obviously finding ways to make it work without the second screen. Do you know what I want is a DS Zelda collection.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
I would really like
even
Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks.
Right. Even if you had to play them on the touch screen, which I would think you would have to, right?
I would think you would have to too,
but maybe with pointer
I
controls?
Think of Skyward Sword,
yeah,
where they made the a controller control scheme, like you could play with the Joy-Con instead of playing with motion controls. I wonder if they figure out a reverse where you can play with the touch screen, or they come up with traditional controls for it or something.
I mean, for me, one of the big hangups about the DS Zelda games was just not being able to control Link directly. That for combat, you're just tapping on the guy that you want Link to attack. I just want to be able to move him around with a thumbstick and then push a button to make him swing the sword. But there's obviously stuff where you need to draw the path for the boomerang or whatever.
And exactly. Yeah, so I really don't know how they would do it, and yet they made.
I would love to see them try, though.
Well, and that's where it's look, the Nintendo DS. It's just not the Virtual Boy, right? Because there are some systems, where oh yeah, these games will probably. I mean, forever is a long time.
Yes,
but these games will probably never come out again, and yet the Nintendo DS was their best-selling console. Maybe
that's true. Yeah.
And is so beloved, has so many amazing games on it that it feels crazy to me that those games will be orphaned. Those first-party Nintendo games will be orphaned. And so I imagine that someday we will see some way to play them, and I'm looking forward to that day.
I am also looking forward to that day. Find a way to put Nintendogs on the Switch.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Shouldn't be that hard.
Totally. Put Nintendogs on there. Give us a new Super Mario Brothers collection.
I've been saying this forever. I've been saying new Super Mario Brothers All-Stars is something that we need.
And I do think that's going to happen someday, but they don't want to get in the way of Wonder.
Right. Well, and also we need that second Metroid Prime trilogy that has Hunters, Pinball, and Federation Forces.
There's so much good stuff. You've talked about it before on both the DS and 3DS that it seems crazy that they would just never release anywhere ever again. But so I guess what I'm saying is maybe Dementium is the first crack in that dam, huh?
Thank you, Dementium.
That's right.
Thank you for rescuing us.
We'll look back on this moment.
All right, Mark, let's close this out. All right, that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Thank you so much for listening. Remember, if you would like to join our Discord, all you gotta do is email us at nintendocartridgesociety@gmail.com. And then we send you an invitation. Anthony DeLuca made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more of his music by going to 8bitbetty.com or by listening right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying thank you for listening.